Good morning. So today's topic is about capability maturity model integration. Process improvement is continuous improvement. We can never reach perfection. So CMM stands for capability maturity model. It focused on the elements of essential practices and processes from various bodies of knowledge. It drives common sense, efficient, proven way of doing business, not a radical new approach. CMM is a method to evaluate and measure the maturity of the software development process of an organization. CMM measures the maturity of the software development process on a scale of 1 to 5. CMM version 1.0 was developed by the Software Engineering Institute at Carnegie Mellon University in US. CMM was originally developed for software development and maintenance, but later it was developed for system engineering, supplier sourcing, integrated product and process development, people CMM, and software acquisition. Some of the examples of CMM: people CMM, that is used for develop, motivate, and retain project talent. Software CMM enhances a software focused development and maintenance capability. What is maturity? There are many definitions. So some like well-defined, repeatable, measured, analyzed, improved, and effective. Poor but mature processes are just as bad as no maturity at all. The CMM helps to solve the maturity problem by defining a set of practices and providing a general framework for improving them. The focus of CMM is on identifying key process areas and exemplary practices that may compromise a disciplined software process. So there is always a difference between immature and mature organization. If you are considering about an immature organization, it will have the following characteristics like process improvised during project, approved process being ignored, reactive not proactive, unrealistic budget and schedule, qualities sacrificed for schedule, no objective measures of quality. And when it comes to mature organizations, intergroup communications and coordination will be there, work accomplished according to the plan, practices consistent with processes updates as necessary, well-defined roles, responsibilities, management formally commit. That is, we are going to get support from the management. Then comes capability maturity model integration. So this capability maturity model integration or CMM integration project was formed to sort out the problems of using multiple CMMs, CMMI products. Team's mission was to combine three source models into a single improvement framework for the organization pursuing enterprise-wide process improvements. And these source models are capability maturity model for software, Electronic Industries Alliance interim standards, integrated product development capability maturity model. So CMMI, we can tell it's a process improvement technology for evaluating how efficiently and effectively a company is able to deliver technology products to its customer. It defines what process and activities need to be done and not how these process and activities are done. So other definitions, it can be used to guide process improvements across a project, helps to integrate traditionally separate organizational functions, set process improvement goals and priorities, provide guidelines for quality process, provides a point of reference for appraising current process. So there is a difference between CMM and CMMI. CMM is a reference model of matured practices in a specific or specified disciplines like system engineering, CMM, software CMM, people CMM, software acquisition CMM, etc. But they were difficult to integrate as and when needed. Whereas that of CMMI is the successor of CMM and evolved as a more matured set of guidelines and was built combining the best components of individual disciplines of CMM, that is like software CMM, people CMM, etc. CMM describes about the software engineering alone, whereas CMM integrated describes both software and system engineering. So the CMMI model, the basic building blocks are generally called as process areas. So the process area generally does not describe how an effective process is executed. Instead, a process area describes what those using an effective process and why they do this. In capability maturity model, process areas can be organized into one of two representation, like a continuous representation or a staged representation. So the continuous representation. The summary components are process areas. Within each process area, there are specific goals that are implemented by specific practices. Also contained in the contained representation or continuous representation of a CMI model are generic goals that are implemented by generic practices. Specific goals and practices are unique to individual process areas, whereas generic goals and practices apply to multiple process areas. Then comes the stacked representation. The commitment to perform includes practice that the process is established. The ability to perform includes practices that establish the necessary conditions for implementing the process completely. Activities performed including practices that directly implement a process. Directing implementation includes practices that monitor and control the performance of a process. Verifying implementation includes practices that ensure compliance. The stacked model has groups of process areas which are divided into 5 levels. This stage is used by the ancestor software development CMM. It is represented to achieve a CMMI level rating from SCMPI appraisal. Whereas continuous model used by the ancestor system engineering CMM is defined as the capacity levels within each profile. The difference between continuous representation and stacked representations are completely organizational, but the content is equivalent. Staged model of CMMI focused on process improvements using stages or maturity levels, whereas that of in continuous model follow a recommended order of approaching process improvements within each specified process area. Every maturity model has process areas with their goals and practices. And practices are categorized into common sense or common features like commitment to perform, ability to perform, activities performed, directing implementation, verifying implementation, etc. So the level of CMMI, starting with the level 1, that is initial level, processes are viewed as unpredictable and reactive. At this stage, work gets completed, but it's often delayed and over budget. This is the worst stage a business can find itself in, an unpredictable environment that increases risk and inefficiency. Second level is managed. Projects are planned, performed, measured, and controlled at this level, but there are still a lot of issues to address. In level 3, that is defined, organizations are more proactive than reactive. There is a set of organization-wide standards to provide guidance across projects, programs, and portfolios. Businesses understand their shortcomings, how to address them, and what the goal is for improvement. Level 4, quantitatively managed. This stage is more measured and controlled. The organization is working off quantitative data to determine predictable process that align with the stakeholder needs. The business is ahead of risk with more data-driven insights into process deficiencies. And then comes level 5, that is optimizing. Here, in this case, the organization's processes are stable and flexible. At this final stage, the organization will be in constant stage of improving and responding to changes to other opportunities. The organization is stable, which allows for more agility and innovation in a predictable environment. Once the organization hits level 4 and level 5, that is quantitatively managed and optimization, they are considered as high maturity, where they are continuously evolving, adapting, and growing to meet the needs of stakeholders and customers. That is the goal of CMMI, to create reliable environments where products, services, and departments are proactive, efficient, and productive. The focus and benefits of CMMI. So focus in first level, ad hoc process, benefit inconsistency rework. Level 2, control comments and baseline, benefit schedule reduced cycle time. Level 3, common practices, comparable data, benefits cost, quality, and productivity. Level 4, stable process, continuous adjustment, good metrics, benefits predictability. And level 5, continuous improvement of process and product, benefits business control and change management. Some of the benefits of CMMI. So improved budget and scheduled predictability, improved cycle time, increased productivity, improved quality, increased customer satisfaction, increased return on investment. Then comes COBIT, the difference between or comparing COBIT with CMMI. What is COBIT? COBIT means Control Objectives for Information and Related Technologies. So COBIT 5 is a leading framework for the governance and management of enterprise IT. The framework links businesses and IT goals while helping users to become more thorough in addressing the risk management. And CMMI will provide a roadmap for developing, improving, and sustaining the business performance. Plan to organize, acquire and implement, deliver and support, monitor and the COBIT process addresses by CMMI are COBIT for plan and organize. Relationship with CMMI provides better support for objective with greater project focus such as requirements, risk, quality, and project management. Acquire and implement provide excellent coverage for achieving and implementing objectives. Delivery and support. Project management process can be translated to support management of service level, third parties, capacity, etc. Last one, monitor, provides for monitoring functions at the project level, does not involve audit control at the organization level. So some of the organizations they are using CMMI like Nokia, Samsung, BMW, Motorola, NASA, IBM Global Service, Polaris, Hitachi, Bank of America. etc. So mostly these informations or these topics are you are covering in the principles of project management. Next topic, that is about root cause analysis or RCA. So we can tell root cause analysis is a systematic process for defining the root causes. That is the basic fundamental problems or events and an approach for responding to them. RCA is based on the basic idea that effective management requires more than merely putting out fires for problems that develop but finding a way to prevent them. So in root cause analysis, we are not going to solve the problems where we find it. Instead of that, we are going to identify where the problem originates. That means the root cause or the root of the given problem and analyze them, find alternative solutions, and then try to solve. So here in this picture, it is very clear that in the above the system, like if you remember the Titanic film, you can find above the sea level, you can find a small piece of ice, whereas under that you can find it's like a mountain. So above the surface you see the symptoms of the problems, whereas that of going in deeper to find the root cause of the goals of root cause analysis, to analyze problems or events, to identify what exactly happened, how it happened, why it happened, so that we can have the actions for preventing its reoccurrence can be developed. It's not an one-size-fits-all methodology. There are many different tools, there are many different processes and philosophies for accomplishing the root cause analysis. So it is originated to analyze various organizational activities such as accident analysis or occupational safety and health, quality control, efficient business process, engineering and maintenance failure analysis, various system-based processes including change management and risk management. The principles focusing on corrective measures of root causes is more effective than simply treating the symptoms of the problem or event. That is why, which I mentioned to you already, that the symptoms will be very small, but its causes may be too big. So root cause analysis is performed most effectively when accomplishing through a systematic process which concludes backed up by evidence. There is usually more than one root cause for a problem or event. The focus of investigation and analysis through problem identification is why the event occurred and not who made the error. Basic methods: define the problem, gather information, data and evidence, identify all the issues and events that contributing to the problem, determine the root causes, identify recommendation or recommended actions for eliminating or mitigating the reoccurrence of the problems or results, implement the identified solution. Some of the benefits: identify barriers and the cause of the problems, so the permanent solutions we can find a permanent solution. Develop a logical approach to problem solving using data that already existing in the agency or in the organization. Identify current and future needs for organizational improvement. Establish a repeatable step-by-step process in which one process can confirm the result. Thank you.